But that links us to this very latest poll that's come out, which says that the two parties will have to do really well even in their strongholds. And I'm talking about this poll by the Governance Research Bureau that's predicting a second round for the 2020 presidential poll. So unlike the polls that we've seen in recent days, where it says this will be a one-touch victory largely for the NPP, this one is quite different and interesting. So let's engage the resource persons behind this particular poll. One is a very familiar one. Dr. Kwame Asante is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Dr. Ezekiel Norte, Senior Lecturer, Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, also with the University of Ghana. May I say good morning to you both, gentlemen? Dr. Norte, you're joining us via phone. And Dr. Kwame Asante is both via Zoom. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I just want to take us a little back. Dr. Kwame Asante is interesting because you're also coming from that same department that also produced a poll which put the presidential candidates of the NPP as the lead with some 51.7%. That's a one-touch victory. But your poll, interestingly, says that this could go into a runoff because none of them would get more than the 50% and even plus the one that we talk about that you need to claim victory. Can you explain the model that you used in this research?
Yeah, I think good morning to you. But my colleague, Dr. Norte, will begin the conversation and I'll take it from the point where he will stop. So over to you, Ni.
Great. Good morning. We actually specified the model, the statistical tool we use. It is a generalized linear model, what is known as a GLM. It's a linear model that predicts the percentage of votes that any of the parties would get. And this is how we did it. NDC, NPP had been there since 1992. So we have all those results. The other parties have, not all of them have been present over the previous electioneering times. So and their performances have also not been too good to write home about. So what we did was to put all of them together in one basket as other parties. So we have NDC, NPP, and other parties. And we wanted to see the percentage of votes that will accrue to any of them. Now, so the dependent variable in this GLM was the percentage of votes that would be accrued, and then the covariates or the independent variables were the constituencies and the parties, because we know that there is an interaction effect between the parties and the constituencies. For instance, a constituency in the Volta region may behave differently from a constituency from the central or the eastern region. So this is what we did to build the various models that predicts who is going to win and by what margin in each of the regions, as well as nationally, what will be the picture.
Okay.
When we finished with that, we built a similar model for the parliamentary, so that we would know which of the constituencies may fall for each of the leading political parties, and then those ones that are for grabs, that they could wrestle to get it. So that is what we did.
Okay.
And so, if you allow me, we might maybe go into the specifics, but you have them all there.
Yes, but Dr. Asante, you said you'd follow the conversation up from where Dr. Norte ended. So let's hear you, and then if you can answer the specific question of how this sharply contradicts that of the political science department of the University of Ghana.
Oh, this is what Governance Research Bureau has done. And this is, we as resource person to the Bureau, this is what we are also saying on behalf of the Bureau. For what the department did, I was not part, so I will not be able to speak to the issues. But this, I can speak to the issue we are talking about here. This is what our model predicts. And as my colleague rightly said, we look at the data from 1992 up to 2020, and then that's the analysis we are coming out with. It is interesting in the sense that it's able to bring to sharp focus to some of the nuances regarding voting decisions in the constituencies. And when you aggregate them, it gives you a picture at the national level. For us, as students of politics, we believe that this is an important template as it helps to deepen our knowledge in voter choices and then also electoral trends as we head in towards the major electoral exercise next week, Monday.
Okay. Great. But you say with this that the two major political parties, the NDC and the NPP, they don't just have to do well in their strongholds, but they may have to even do better than in 2016 to maintain the leads and also perform extremely well in the swing regions. Can you further explain?
Yes, we are saying that if you look at our model, the model gives a certain formula for all parties. We are saying that looking at the model, it says that any party or a candidate that performs just minimal, that's your average, you are pushing the election to a second round. If you go beyond your average to your upper limit, you are winning the election first round. If you fall below the average, obviously you are out of the election. So we are saying that for a political party to be able to win convincingly, you need to go beyond your average and head towards the upper limits. And then you, in addition to this, you must do well in your stronghold because the stronghold is your foundation. That's where you get a lot of votes there. You must do extremely well, and then you move into your opponent's stronghold and perform a little beyond your average, or at worst your average. Then in the swing areas, you need to be able to up your game by going beyond your average. Then the election, you are home and dry. Otherwise, forget it. The election is over.
So on the face of it, Dr. Ezekiel Noi-Nortey, you're saying that both parties will perform their average, and that's why you say this is likely to go into a second round.
Exactly. Exactly so. You see, in prediction, when you predict the average, you need to give bounds. To what extent can it go up? To what extent can it fall? You understand? So we are saying that this is the prediction, but it could go as far as this, and it could be low as this. Now, if you are moving so close to your upper limit, it means that you are doing better than the predicted average. It means that you are winning. If you are pushing only at your average, it is obviously going into a second round, because when you perform your average as specified, then you are unable to make the 50%.
Okay,
so
great.
Unless you operate above your average. Similarly, in a similar vein, the two main political opponents, if one is performing above its average, you know, it's like a pendulum. The other would be performing abysmally. So as one goes up, the other goes down. Okay? The worst scenario would be that they would be at their averages. So this, as Dr. Asante said, is a template all the political watchers can use to monitor the progress as we vote on the 7th.
Okay. So you also predict 107 seats for the NPP and NDC 112, and you say 56 can go either way. Can you explain the 56
yes.
going either way?
Yes. The model was unable to come out clearly to say which of the two parties are winning. So for those ones, the model was able to predict. Those ones are the 112 and the 107. But the 56, the reason we listed them so that the political actors can work on them. It means that they would be the kingmakers. The others are already determined, as you can see. So they should work harder in these 56 constituencies we have itemized. So because it could go either way, depending on what you tell the electorates.
So, Dr. Asah-Asante, I need a bit of clarification again on the 56 going either way, because if you look at some of the constituencies that have been named, I mean, these are places that others are convinced that, for instance, the incumbents would maintain. So, are you saying they should perform in terms of get more voters, even though they're going to win, or what?
My colleague rightly said, we are saying that the model could not clearly define that. And it suggests to us that that is what, if I should borrow the US expression, that's a toss-up. So this is a battleground. People, it could go other way. So we are saying that, yes, irrespective of the fact that you believe that that area as your stronghold and then you are likely to take it, hey, you don't have to be complacent. You need to work extra hard because it could go either way. Let me also say that all that we are saying or we have come up with, we are using quantitative figures of the Electoral Commission certified figures, and that there are other qualitative variables that when you put them into this type of analysis, it could change the game. So let us not be oblivious of that fact.
Okay, so
it is the case that I'm telling you.
Okay, wait. So can I just ask
all that we are saying that if you look at the 56, it's a place where everybody must put in the best performance, so that once you get the highest number of seats there, you are home and dry.
So can I ask this? Can there be a significant shift with the week's campaign? As you know, the two major political parties are intensifying their campaign. The NDC's presidential candidate is in the Savannah region.
I really think so. Even a day's campaign can change events. So for me, they should not relent in their efforts. They should go all out, and it will be interesting. We would want to see how many of the 56 will fall for each of the parties. And that would also be beneficial in our model building exercise next time round.
But Dr. Asah-Asante, there are other polls that suggest that a lot of people already know who they're going to vote for. So if many people have already made up their minds, then what else would change the people's minds with the one-week campaign?
Yes. At this critical moment, what is of interest to the political party is that they have to look at three important things. One, they need to be able to have their resources intact, both material and human. They need to do that. Who are those people who are going to man the polling stations? What are the logistics that you need? The parties must be very busy preparing towards that. The second issue is that they need to have what? Firm policies, strategies that will really help them to deliver the public good. And what do I mean by that? There are a lot of strategies that at this time they have to come out with. You place your ears on the ground and see whether there's a propaganda going against you so that you can rebut. You want to ensure that the right message are given to what? The constituencies and other places. At this point in time, you have to group your messages along the lines of regional, national, and constituency. Because remember, there are constituency-specific issues. You have to get closer to the constituency and find out whether these things are gaining grounds. If there is a problem, you have to come back to the drawing board and then effect a change. Of course, you need to also be careful about the message you send out, because those of us who develop messages, we churn out things that when you respond, then we take a swipe on you, and then we pull you to our comfortable areas, and at the end of the day, you will not do much. They must be wary of all these things if they really want to win the game. But I hope and pray that they will be able to look at all these things and do them appropriately. But more importantly, I want the people of this country to know that election is just a context. We are going to express our thoughts, our ideas, and all that. It's not a battleground where we are going to fire arms and all that. This country belongs to all of us, and we need to be able to protect it at all times. And that the election is not life and death matter. That when you lose, you need to accept defeat and abide by the game. It is my hope and prayer that the good people of this country will abide by this and will save our country the unnecessary trouble of going through certain hardship that other countries are going through. We have, nurtured this democracy.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that it consolidates and bring the fruit that will inure to the benefit of everybody in this country.
Just two things before we wrap up. You say that the NDC and the NPP need to perform better in their opponent's stronghold. So,
yeah.
But we know that the NPP, for instance, in their stronghold of the Ashanti region, they are also targeting the 3 seats that the NPP holds. So both parties are looking at not giving anything at all to their opponent in their own strongholds. How do they make this claim of getting more votes when they are also deliberately targeting the seats?
Yes, however poor you perform in your opponent's stronghold, we are saying that there is a minimum average that you need to maintain. If you take, for instance, for Ashanti region, the NDC performance has been around 27%. All right, we are saying that if they really want to do well, you need to maintain this or go beyond that. And that is not something beyond them. They should be able to. But once you are falling there, then you need to perform better in other areas to shore up your vote. Other than that, you must throw in the towel and save all of us the trouble of going through a difficult elections. So that's why we are saying that this is an important guide that should really regulate the conduct of political parties and then give them some sort of assurance that when they do the right things, they are able to bagging the votes.
Yes, let me give you the opportunity on this, Dr. Ezekiel Nortey. How about the rest of the candidates? Because we've got 12 on the ballot. We've just been talking about 2. And your research highlighted on the main 2 political parties. So what happens to the other minority political parties and the only independent candidates we have?
It's quite unfortunate because these minority parties have not really demonstrated any resilience when it comes to showing up votes. So that is why we amalgamated all of them. If we are saying for all the 10 or so, when we put them together, they are not even getting 500,000 votes. It means that they are really not there. It means each one of them is just getting about 50,000 on the average, which is even lesser. Some may get even less. And 2016, you all saw what happened. They were getting binary values, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and so on and so forth. You can't win an election with zeros and ones. And so it's unfortunate, but currently the data do not suggest they would do well in the upcoming one.
Okay, but would it be significant if they gave their vote to one of the 2 parties?
Certainly, yes. Certainly, yes. Because from the average prediction that we have given based on the model.
2.54.
Yeah, theirs is 2.54. Add 2.54 to both of them, you will see that they will cross the 50. You understand? So though their values are insignificant, they are the main proponents of pushing the election into a second round.
That's interesting.
So that is what
Dr. Asah-Asante, would you like to have a say on this just before we go on the minority political parties with their 2.54%?
Yes, the figures that you see is nothing but a manifestation of the kind of political system that we have. It is a two-party state, simply put. All right. We are saying that the party, a state is said to be two-party when you have a number of parties existing, but that only two have the political wherewithal to win power and form government. If you look at our history since 1992, it's only the NDC and MPP have been winning power. It tells you that it's nothing but what? A two-party state. So any other party, they are just, very small parties, and that their contributions are not that significant. So when you look at it from that perspective, it throws light on what we are talking about. But it is strategic that you have such a group there, because if you place your parties in a very firm position, you can begin to lobby them, talk to them, and then you get some of the votes so that you cross the 50% plus one threshold, so that you win first round.
Okay. Well, is this the last one before December 7? Or you've got another one coming up?
No, this is the last one. This is the last one.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We'll wait to see how much of the prediction comes through. That's Dr. Asah-Asante with the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, and Dr. Ezekiel Noi-Nortey, who's a senior lecturer with the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science with the University of Ghana. What is interesting, really, is the fact that the Political Science Department itself also came out with a poll that puts the NPP's presidential candidate at 51.7%. They say this is going to be a one-touch victory for the NPP, giving the NDC some 40.9%. Again, we've seen Paul Stabenefsing also predicting a one-touch victory for President Akufo-Addo. But this one says that we're likely to go into a second round, and it's only the minority political parties and the independent candidates on the ballots. They have 2.54%. The best they can do is to push this election into a second round. I guess we wait to see what happens and if there will be any more polls in the coming days, with some 7 days to the 2020 elections. Of course, this is your election headquarters.